Did you know Russia, the largest country in the world, spans 11 time zones and covers more than 1/8 of the Earth's inhabited land area? A nation of such vast proportions, its history and culture are as diverse as its landscapes. From the icy Siberian tundra to the sunny beaches of Sochi, Russia is a testament to the breadth of the human experience. Imagine a place where a day's journey could take you through a dozen different climates, where a multitude of languages echo amongst the bustling city streets and quiet country villages alike. This is Russia, a country that's home to over 140 million people, each with their own distinct story to tell. Its rich tapestry woven with threads of countless cultures, Russia is more than just a country. It's a vast living testament to the resilience and diversity of humanity. Now that we've grasped the enormity of Russia, let's travel back in time to its origins. Our journey begins around the 9th century with the establishment of Kievan Rus, the first East Slavic state. Picture a vast and diverse landscape, a melting pot of cultures and peoples. This is Kievan Rus, a federation of Slavic tribes under the rule of the Varangians, a Norse warrior elite. The Varangians, often referred to as Vikings, brought with them a distinct culture and governance structure that would shape the region's destiny. The Varangians established a network of trade routes connecting the Baltic to the Mediterranean. This network, known as the route from the Varangians to the Greeks, facilitated the exchange of goods, ideas and culture, fostering the growth of Kievan Rus. But Kievan Rus was not merely a conduit for foreign influences, it was a vibrant, dynamic entity in its own right, its people known for their craftsmanship, their fervor for trade, and their complex social structures. The society was a mix of freemen, slaves, and a warrior aristocracy, with the Grand Prince of Kiev at its helm. In the 10th century, a significant turning point arrived. The Grand Prince Vladimir the Great adopted Orthodox Christianity from Byzantium. This monumental decision brought a profound transformation. The adoption of a new religion led to changes in law, culture, and the very fabric of society. It also strengthened the ties between Kievan Rus and the Byzantine Empire, further influencing the region's development. However, the golden age of Kievan Rus could not last forever. The state began to decline in the 12th century, plagued by internal strife and external threats. The once united federation fragmented into several smaller principalities, each vying for power. The final blow came with the Mongol invasion in the 13th century, marking the end of Kievan Rus. The demise of Kievan Rus paved the way for the rise of a new power, the Mongols. This dramatic shift in power would lead to a new chapter in the history of the region, one filled with conquest, resilience, and the rise of a new cultural identity. But that, my friends, is a story for another time. In the 13th century, Russia fell under the rule of the Mongol Empire, a period known as the Mongol Yoke. This time of foreign dominance was a significant turning point in Russian history, reshaping the landscape both politically and culturally. The Mongol yoke was not just a time of subjugation, it was also a period of considerable change. The Mongols, although they were conquerors, were also great administrators. They introduced a system of taxation that, while burdensome, was also efficient and allowed for a degree of economic stability. This system, coupled with the Mongols' policy of religious tolerance, created a unique environment in which Russian society could evolve and adapt. The Mongol rule also had an unexpected consequence. It led to the rise of a new power center, Moscow. The Mongols granted the princes of Moscow the right to collect taxes on their behalf. This in turn allowed Moscow to amass wealth and power, setting the stage for its rise as a political and economic powerhouse. The Mongols' rule was harsh, but it was also a catalyst for change. The political structure they imposed forced the Russian principalities to cooperate, fostering a sense of unity that had not existed before. This unity, coupled with the rise of Moscow, laid the groundwork for a more centralized Russian state. But the Mongol yoke was not to last forever. By the late 15th century, the Mongol Empire was in decline. The princes of Moscow, who had been steadily growing in power and influence, saw an opportunity. They led a successful rebellion against the Mongols, marking the end of the Mongol yoke. This was a pivotal moment in Russian history. Moscow, once a minor principality, had emerged as the dominant political and economic force. The power vacuum left by the Mongols was quickly filled by the Muscovites, who went on to establish an independent Russian state. As the Mongol rule waned, Moscow grew stronger, eventually leading to the formation of an independent Russian state. By the 16th century, Moscow had evolved into the Tsardom of Russia, ruled by the Romanov dynasty. This was a time of transformation and expansion, as Russia grew from a regional power into a global empire under the steady hand of the Romanovs. The Romanovs, a line of monarchs that began with Mikhail Romanov in 1623, dominated Russian politics for over 3 centuries. Among the most notable Romanov rulers were Peter the Great and Catherine the Great. Peter the Great, a towering figure both literally and metaphorically, was a man of relentless energy and ambition. His reign, beginning in 1682, marked a turning point in Russian history. He modernized the Russian army, built a formidable navy, and moved the capital from Moscow to his newly built city, St. Petersburg, a window to the west. Catherine the Great, who ascended the throne several decades later in 1762, continued Peter's work of modernizing Russia. Under her rule, Russia expanded its borders dramatically, absorbing new territories and peoples. She became a patron of the arts and education, fostering a cultural renaissance that brought Russia into the European Enlightenment. But the Romanovs were not just rulers of expansion and enlightenment. Their reign was also marked by serfdom, censorship, and often brutal repression. And as the Industrial Revolution swept through Europe, Russia struggled to keep pace, leading to widespread discontent among its people. The Romanov reign, however, came to a dramatic end with the Russian Revolution in the 20th century. The last Tsar, Nicholas II, was forced to abdicate in 1917 amid civil unrest and war. The royal family was executed the following year, marking the end of the Romanov dynasty and the rise of the Soviet Union. The Romanovs left an indelible mark on Russian history. Their reign was a time of great change, shaping the country into a world power that continues to influence global politics and culture to this day. Their legacy, however, is a complex tapestry of triumph and tragedy, progress and repression, a reflection of the vast and varied country they ruled. The fall of the Romanovs gave rise to the Soviet Union, a socialist state that left a profound impact on the world. The tumultuous years following the Russian Revolution in 1917 saw the formation of a unique political entity, the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, or USSR. Its establishment was a radical departure from the centuries-old monarchy, marking the start of a new era in Russian history. Under the leadership of Vladimir Lenin and later Joseph Stalin, the Soviet Union transformed itself from a largely agrarian society into an industrial powerhouse. The nation's influence extended far beyond its borders, particularly during World War II. As one of the victorious Allied powers, the Soviet Union emerged from the war as a global superpower. Yet it was the post-war period that truly defined the Soviet era. The world found itself divided into 2 ideological camps: the capitalist West, led by the United States, and the communist East, led by the Soviet Union. This division sparked the Cold War, a prolonged period of geopolitical tension that lasted for nearly half a century. The Soviet Union's role in the Cold War was significant. It was a time of space races and arms races, of ideological battles and proxy wars. Yet despite the outward show of power, internal pressures were mounting. Economic difficulties, political unrest, and the desire for independence among the various Soviet republics led to growing instability. In 1991, the USSR was officially dissolved, bringing an end to the Soviet era. In its place, the Russian Federation was formed, marking the start of a new phase in Russian history. This new nation, while retaining its superpower status, faced numerous challenges as it sought to navigate the complexities of a post-Soviet world. The collapse of the Soviet Union marked a new chapter in Russian history, one that continues to unfold today. From the early days of Kievan Ruses to the modern Russian Federation, Russia's history is as vast and varied as its geography. We delved into the heart of the nation's past, beginning with the rise of Kievan Ruses, an era that planted the seeds for a distinct Slavic identity. The Mongol yoke then swept across the land, but from its ashes rose the resilient city of Moscow, destined to become the heart of a new empire. As we journeyed through time, we explored the grandeur of the Tsardom and the Romanov dynasty, a period marked by opulence, expansion, and turbulence. The Soviet era then dawned, a radical shift that transformed Russia into a global superpower, shaping the world as we know it today. As we continue to witness the unfolding of Russian history, it's clear that this massive nation will continue to play a significant role on the world stage,